It is June the 7th, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray Wreck Site in the St. Simons Sound. And we'll start the report out today with a picture that was sent to us this morning. And this is an area southwest, if you will, of the southern tip of Jekyll Island in the St. Andrews Sound. This area of the marsh has been oiled, and we think this oil probably made it there down the ocean side of Jekyll Island and then up St. Andrews Sound, and where it went across and found the marsh there. And this site is actually, as the crow flies, just about 8 miles from the wreck site. So this material that is in the water is moving around, and it's finding its way back onto the shore. We don't know what kind of problems in the future this is going to cause. We know that on the Unified Command's website, they had a couple more areas that they were working on with applying some moss material in an effort to try to help this break down. We can imagine that this is going to be quite the process to break down this heavy fuel oil. The consistency of it, really sticky and really nasty stuff, but it's finding its way all around. And that said, here we go with some more debris and oil type material. Now this was on Sea Island. That is the island that is north of St.simons Island, and this looks to be some sort of absorbent boom. And from what I understand, they found 3 sections of this type of article today, and then they also found this bait bucket, which obviously a fisherman has lost, but it has found its way into some of that heavy fuel oil on Sea Island Beach as well. So this material is starting to move around, and it's very concerning to see this type of stuff starting to wash up in places that it really shouldn't be. And out at the site, we got out there, the environmental boats were out there. We saw a handful of these guys still working, and we had some pretty strong winds coming just straight out of the south, gusting up to right at 20 knots today. Made for a pretty substantial swell coming in across the site. And then with that wind coming out of the south at that speed, any material that's coming off the ship now is just making a straight shot right across the sound, quarter to half a mile, and it is on the southern tip of St. Simons Island. And as we kind of get by the ship here with some of the video, you'll see some of the streaks of the contaminants there. They're coming off of it. But they're cutting. They don't have the straps attached again, and this is a technique that we saw earlier where they had the ship unattached in an effort to help kind of steer that chain around from some of those structural components. Now, they did some cutting yesterday on the ship to work on a valleyway to allow that chain to pass and hopefully avoid some of the structural components that chain may have encountered. But they were back today cutting just with the spreader bars raised up and the ship unattached. So they are making headway, as we could see on this section 3. And now this is the section that should be loaded on one of those dry docks, and it'll actually be the first section that we have seen loaded onto one of those dry dock systems. The dry dock system actually has the capability of submerging it down below the water, and we think this has become necessary to help take the load of the weight, in particular with how much silt is accumulating inside of all those vehicles and then the car and the ship spaces that are that are under the water, without having to pick all that additional weight up out of the water. They should be able to get the dry dock underneath that, and then allow the dry dock to take the weight of the ship and raise it on up where they can transport it into the Port of Brunswick. We could again see through the ship. We looked for that chain, but still couldn't see it. Hopefully we will be able to catch a glimpse of that chain. And there, if you look in the water, you can kind of see a little bit of that sheening where some of that product's coming off the ship there. Just faintly, but still, yes, visible. If you kind of know what you're looking for, it's pretty easy to spot. But the environmental boats were working in it, and I guess trying to find and get up what they can. Again, a rough day out there. The camera shots really don't do it justice for the conditions that were out there today. And we expect these conditions to probably last through the week. It doesn't look very favorable. That south wind is going to continue, and it's going to make for some unpleasant areas around the ship and that in the sound. No, there's no stopping it. Once the wind starts coming up the beach there, this is it's going to be a rough week for the guys working out there. Unpleasant place in a small boat, definitely. But getting around, we got a couple shots here going back on the offshore side of the ship here. Just kind of looking back. We see those other chains now. They're still waiting for their turn to be hooked up, and hopefully we'll see that done and the ship will get out of here. We think that's the only way that's going to stop these contaminants, because the environmental barrier just really does not seem to be stopping the material. It's just getting out and making a mess in places, and they know the situation is developing, and this oil is really starting to become a concern for those of us that live in it here. Well, that's going to do it for the report today. We'd like to thank you for joining us. We're going to ask you that if you haven't done it, please click on that subscribe button. Grab that link. It's not going to cost you anything. Hey, we always like to see the comments. We try to return what we can. Hey, and most of all, we want you guys to stay safe out there.